Morning, guys. It's early in the morning. It's 7 a.m. in Southwest UK. My name is Louis. Nice to meet you all. I'm an Elvis fan. I'm not fully awake yet, but I wanted to do a part 2 of Priscilla and all her different boyfriends, her dating history. I wanted to go through it again. And part of the thing I'm realizing here is a lot of the dating history, the way it's drawn up in these clips I'm finding, is from the point of view of Priscilla and the press. So a lot of it isn't completely 100% the truth. I'm going to go through it with you guys and we'll just see how it pans out. I'm just going to get my tea. Left my tea over here. Everyone is asleep. Got myself a nice cup of tea. Right, let's just check the lighting. Is it better like that? I like that now. Better with the light on. So, a lot of you will watch this later when you wake up. I know a lot of you are in America. So, good morning to you when you wake up. Now, I did a Priscilla and her boyfriends, lovers, whichever way you want to put it, yesterday. But I wanted to be a bit more thorough with today's one. So, YouTube have rewarded me with my little sign, which I'm very proud of. Okay, right. So, I'm going to go through a few different things and I'm just going to read it out to you guys. We'll just, as we go, I'll butt in and say a few comments. Let's go. Priscilla's dating history from Elvis to Robert Kardashian. Now, did any of you know that she had been seeing Robert Kardashian? I actually didn't know. It was something I found out recently. I expect you Elvis fans out there knew. So I'll show you some of the pictures. So the site that I'm looking at is called Distractify, which I've never heard of. There's a picture of Priscilla, and a very recent one, I think. I think she's had some more work done on her face, because when I'm looking at her now, it seems to be a bit thinner here. Could be wrong. You tell me, guys. So I'm just going to flick through it, just start reading and see what happens. It probably starts off a bit to do with the life story, but let's just go. Priscilla Presley and Elvis Presley were together from 1959 to 1973. Well, that isn't actually completely true, is it? Because I know that he met her in 59. But by the time she came to America, wasn't it 62, 63? So, and it says from 19 right till 1973, and even that isn't correct because they had decided to divorce, I think, a year before they actually divorced. And hadn't she been secretly seeing Mike Stone at the latter part of 71 and through 72? You tell me, guys. This is how I've been reading it. So the date really should say from 62, I would say, to 72 at the latest. So again, these are the things that's put on Google, on the internet. If you're a non-Elvis fan, you'll read these things and you'll straight away buy into the facts that we're being spoon-fed. That the relationship was from 1959 to 73, which isn't true. Just isn't true. You can knock a few years off that, in my opinion. After Elvis's death, Priscilla began dating the man she was having an affair with during her marriage. Let's read that bit again. After Elvis's death, Priscilla began dating the man she was having an affair with during the marriage. That's an odd way of putting it, I think, but she was later linked to Robert Kardashian and Michael Stone. Right. Ahead of the release of Sofia Coppola's directed biopic Priscilla film called Priscilla Presley is opening up about her life and family and relationship with Elvis Presley. Again, the film about her life with Elvis Presley and the family. Now, this is from the point of view of Priscilla. I always keep having to throw this in. That film, which you guys know I didn't like that film, was made from the point of view of Priscilla. And I think even Sofia Coppola very much respected Priscilla's point of view. I think Sofia Coppola knew that she had to get Priscilla on board to make the film a success, which was a mistake, actually, because I think Priscilla being involved in that film is part of the reason people don't like it, because they don't trust what she's had to say in that film. And it's so clearly obvious that that film was completely unfair to Elvis and painted Priscilla to be the victim and Elvis to be the bad guy. And it was boring. It's just a rubbish film, guys. Let's keep going. Now, Priscilla's life will be the focus of a new biopic. All right, we just said this. Priscilla's life will be the focus of a new biopic, leaving some to wonder about her dating history, from Elvis to Robert Kardashian. Here is a list of everyone Priscilla has been linked to. Okay. And I keep bringing this up about the fairy tale marriage, the fairy tale romance that we all bought into in the 70s. And if you're a bit older, in the 50s and 60s. And the whole story has been twisted, half-truths. Unfortunately, because Elvis passed in 1977, we've all had to follow Priscilla's version of this story. And many people around the world, going right back to the 80s, have followed the Elvis and me version and Priscilla's interviews, her version of what really happened, which isn't the truth, because the truth has been changed and twisted and exaggerated, and the truth has been modified and altered through the decades. So we never really have been told the truth, actually what really went on, what really happened between them before the marriage, during the engagement, after the marriage, even after the divorce. Anyway, Priscilla met the Hound Dog singer in 1959 when she was 14. Despite the 10-year age gap, Priscilla and Elvis remained in touch, and she eventually moved in with him. Their relationship had been the subject of heavy criticism, but Priscilla suggests that they were platonic before they dated. And we are told this regularly, that there was no sex until the night of the wedding. You guys are going to have opinions on that. What you think they did get up to when they met. I personally don't think Elvis touched her until she was over 17. And don't forget, remember the times in the 50s and 60s and 70s as well, actually. It was not unusual for a man to be with a younger girl. It was actually very common. Now, not as young as 14, of course. But for a man to be seeing a 17, 18-year-old in the 50s and 60s was pretty normal. You know, it was different times. Now, would we like it that way now? No, we wouldn't. But back then, it was quite normal. And I think any of you guys out there that grew up in the 50s and 60s and 70s will remember this. The couple got married May the 1st, 1967, and Priscilla and Elvis went on to welcome the child Lisa Marie Presley in 1968. And in January 2023, Lisa Marie died of complications from small bowel obstruction just days after she appeared alongside her mother at the 80th Golden Globe Awards. And this played out in front of all of us. We saw them together on behalf of Baz Luhrmann and the Elvis movie. Now, the bit when we're talking about Priscilla here and the relationship, I've found out through a few things that I've read and watched that Priscilla was already having an affair with the dance instructor Steve Peck in 1968, not long after Lisa Marie was born. So you think about it, they got married May the 1st, 1967. By 68, she's already having an affair. It even shows her at the 68 comeback special with Steve Peck. That worries me. That makes me wonder, because it makes me think, what kind of a marriage was this? I know we see the beautiful pictures of Priscilla at the wedding with Elvis and a few of the family members and a few of the Memphis Mafia. I don't know if you know the story, but I think Frank Sinatra loaned his aeroplane and took them to the hotel. Is it the Aladdin? And beautiful pictures, beautiful video footage, and there's a bit of a press conference. They do look really happy in the video, but we know that the baby, Lisa Marie, was born 9 months after the day of the wedding. But I do wonder that if she had an affair as soon as 1968, was it a fake marriage? Was it a fake marriage? And then when the baby was born, she's had this affair. Now, we've all seen the pictures. Elvis with the baby stood on the steps of the hospital. They look very happy. It all makes me wonder, was there any actual love there when the baby was born? I watched Memphis Mafia interviews that say that when the baby was born and once they first got married, Elvis tried to be completely faithful and loyal. But they also say that, you know, the relationship was complex, stuff was going on. So was there ever a genuine marriage? I mean, we've seen the footage of them on holiday, out and about, you know, doing their trips, and rare footage of them just having fun together, which looked genuine. When you look at the facts, you think, was it all just a show for the cameras, for the public? Was the whole thing a farce? It just makes me wonder. Elvis and Priscilla divorced in 1973 after 6 years of marriage and countless rumors of infidelity. Now remember, countless rumors of infidelity, but they were both unfaithful. Both unfaithful. And I get the feeling that from 68 onwards, they both acted as if they were single and were just there for Lisa Marie. That's the feeling I'm starting to get now, guys. Now, if you're a Priscilla fan, you may disagree with me, but to start having an affair in 68, so soon after the birth of Lisa and after the marriage, and Elvis is off. We know that Elvis also was having affairs. Was it a fake marriage? This is what I keep asking myself. Have we all been duped into thinking that this fairy tale, this so-called fairy tale relationship, was really not a fairy tale? So in addition to Elvis's transgressions, Priscilla later revealed that her affair with Mike Stone contributed to her split from the legendary crooner. Mike exuded confidence and style, as well as a good deal of personal charm and wit, Priscilla wrote in her memoir, Elvis and Me. So I just think, personally, I think she fell for Mike. She really fancied him. And I was watching a program yesterday that said that she actually fell for him during Elvis and Priscilla's honeymoon. They had a honeymoon holiday, and that's where they went to see Mike Stone in a karate exhibition, and she fancied him. She really fancied him. And this is where she first got sight of Mike Stone. Isn't that just horrific? That they're on their honeymoon and she's got her eye on another man. I just don't like it. And, you know, she supposedly was seeing Mike for a year before she even left Elvis. Just And when obviously we all know that Elvis was in shock when he found out and was very angry, very upset, and said some crazy things. But I don't blame him. And wasn't Mike Stone a friend of Elvis's? Because obviously we know, I keep saying obviously, stop saying obviously. Mike, we know that Elvis was very interested in karate. And Mike Stone had a massive reputation within the karate business and was even friends with Bruce Lee. So let's keep going. I mean, the pictures I'm showing you, they're a bit small. You're not going to see them very well, but the part of the thing that I don't like about the Mike Stone affair is that it was very public. It was in all the tabloids and all the magazines. I think there was even a few TV things that happened where she was really proud of Mike Stone and paraded him. And you imagine how that made Elvis feel. It must have been gutting for Elvis. Morning, guys. Nice cup of tea. After Priscilla and Elvis got divorced, she began dating the man that she had an affair with, Michael Stone. Michael was working as Elvis's martial arts instructor. His affair with Priscilla began, their relationship continued until 1975. So really, over 3 years. That's what I see. And it says Elvis's martial arts instructor. They were friends. And Elvis was trying to help Priscilla. And he would pay for her to have karate lessons, acting lessons, and other things. And her thanks for Elvis trying to help her to have, bear in mind, she's having karate lessons with Bruce Lee's friend. Yeah, it's as good as it gets when it gets to being a martial arts instructor. And her thanks to Elvis was to sleep with him. And from what I've read, he was married and had a baby on the way. So it's not good, guys. I would say one of the worst things that Priscilla ever did is the Mike Stone affair. It had a devastating effect on Elvis, and I'm not surprised. I think any man would have reacted in the same way. Let's keep going. So now we're on to Robert Kardashian, the famous lawyer with the famous family. According to a celebrity big brother, Jerry Oppenheimer, Priscilla had a brief fling with Robert Kardashian in 1975 to 1976. Jerry told Inside Edition that Chris was totally jealous of the couple's relationship. At the time, Kris Jenner really wanted to marry him. He found another woman to have an affair with, and that was Elvis Presley's wife, Priscilla Presley, Jerry claimed. Okay, I don't know anything about Robert Kardashian. Obviously, he was a famous lawyer, but I know nothing about him. Let's keep going. Now, this is quite a controversial one. So we've got Michael Edwards. We know he wrote a book, a tell-all book. And he's the one that spilled the beans that she had a one-night affair with Richard Gere. And the bit that has really upset the fans is that he supposedly had strong feelings for Priscilla's daughter, Lisa Marie, which is just sick and wrong. I'm surprised he even admitted it. So in 1978, Priscilla began dating model Michael Edwards. They dated for 6 years, but split after Michael began developing inappropriate feelings for Priscilla's daughter, who was 16. In 2003 interview with Playboy, Lisa slammed the former actor and called him a sick F. It's disgusting, isn't it? I've read his book. It's quite an interesting book. He had quite an interesting career. He was obviously a very handsome man. But she done half pick him, didn't she, guys? Yeah? Let's keep looking. Mark Garibaldi, which is the relationship that I think most of us know about, because they were together for over 20 years. And there's issues there to do with where he's from. I think he is Brazilian, but told her he was from Italian descent. I think financially he was very involved with Priscilla and helped blow an absolute fortune of money. And I've heard that he introduced Barry Siegel to Priscilla and to Lisa Marie, which had massive knock-on effects with Elvis Presley Enterprises, and had a massive reason to do with why 85% of Elvis Presley Enterprises was sold off, 15% to be retained by Lisa Marie. Obviously, Priscilla was the trustee. And I think Marco Garibaldi witnessed Priscilla and Barry Siegel planning a takeover of power from Lisa Marie. Their reason being that they thought Lisa Marie had been overspending and was going to spend everything and leave them with nothing. But I still think it's wrong that Lisa Marie's mother and Barry Siegel, the business entrepreneur, were secretly planning a takeover bid. And when, as far as I know, when Lisa Marie found out about this, she just went crazy, and this caused an 8-year rift between Lisa and Priscilla. They didn't speak to each other, and supposedly cost Lisa Marie $100 million. That's a whole story in itself, and I'm going to do a different live on that because I was looking into this last night, and I do want to look in more detail into the Elvis Presley Enterprises secret takeover that was trying to get done way back then in 2016 with Barry Siegel. We know that he dropped out, and eventually other people stepped in. So, okay, let's keep going. So Nigel Lithgow. Now we know him in England. We know him as the judge of Pop Idol. So does that mean he was involved in American Idol? I don't know how you see this guy in America. Not the most handsome of men. I think he was punching. Do you think that, guys, he was punching there? Priscilla was linked. So you think you can dance judge. All right, so over there he was the so you think you can dance judge, Nigel Lithgow. From 2007 to 2009. Again, I knew nothing about that relationship. However, Nigel suggested that the two were just friends. She got me, though. Nigel said, Priscilla, I tried a therapist, but I think for me, it was easier to go out to dinners with Priscilla. We had many nights of talking when if the two were ever intimate, Nigel responded no. So that's probably just more rumor then, yeah? Right, substance user disorder. Oh, yeah, hello, tell me where you're from, what your name is. I have seen some of your comments on my channel. Hi, Louis. Elvis playing for all the Priscilla activities, and she had affairs behind Elvis's back. I heard about Michael Edwards having feelings for Lisa Marie. That is sick. Oh, it's Jean. Hi, Jean. I agree. Nice to good morning to you. I'm not fully awake yet. I'm still half asleep. I wanted to quickly get one in before the kids wake up and my wife wakes up. Morning to you. Right, let's keep going. So let me just see. Okay, so there's that. So what I've done, I've clicked on a few, and what I wanted to do was read the different versions, how people are wording it. I'll start reading this one. Let's have a look a minute. Right, meet the six. Oh no, we'll do that one after. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm going to read you a different one. That's just right. So Priscilla Presley's dating history, from Elvis to Robert Kardashian to Nigel Lithgow. Right, let's just read this one and see how different it is. Can't help falling in love. Priscilla Presley divorced Elvis Presley in 1973, but they stayed close until his death. Well, I dispute that they were close until his death because she kept going back for more money. there were some serious problems with her in the divorce settlements, just trying to grab more money. And even even in 1977, she was still trying to get more money. I don't agree that they were close after, right until 77. I think maybe they were on and off close, on and off friendship. I think they obviously stayed in touch because of Lisa Marie. But were they these best buddies that were made out to think from, if you listen to Priscilla's interviews and she says that they had stayed close, I'm not convinced, guys. I think, yes, sometimes, but was it a lovely friendship? I doubt it. I think probably behind the scenes, Elvis was pulling his hair out with the things that Priscilla was getting up to. In the end, she was a total embarrassment to him. So I'm not buying it, guys. They stayed close until his death. No. She remained one of the most devoted protectors of his legacy. She didn't, guys, because unfortunately, but going right back to the early 80s, right till today, yes, she'll stand there and she'll praise Elvis and say thousands of things about Elvis that are good, but then she'll throw in the bad bits. He was controlling. He had a bad temper. He was constantly unfaithful. I was never with him. He was always away. And just the same things. He forced me how to dress and wear makeup and do my hair. It's a rewriting of history. She's got her version of history, but not the truth. It's her version. And that bothers me a lot. Now, I'll say clearly, she does talk fondly of Elvis on all her interviews, but it's not 100% fondly. It's lots of nice things and then a few bad things chucked in. The bad things do harm to his legacy. The bad things do harm to his image, So, and the Presley film, let's face it, the Priscilla Presley film has done harm to his legacy and image, didn't do him any good, just painted him out to be this not very nice person and her to be the victim. So, anyway, the New York City native met the jailhouse rock singer in 1959, age 14. Elvis was serving in the US Army in Germany, and after Blue Hawaii star moved back to United States, the duo stayed in touch via phone before reuniting in person in 1962. I think that's correct. She came over in 1962, but I think she did visit a few times, didn't she, before she actually finally moved over there. 1 year later, Priscilla's parents allowed her to move to Memphis so she could be closer to Elvis. And in 1966, Elvis proposed. Okay. One day he showed me the ring and simply asked me to marry him. They're referring to her being in Dallas. In 1972, even though we were perfectly content the way we were at the time, it wasn't nice for people to live together. The couple tied the knot in 1967 at the Aladdin Hotel in Vegas. And Lisa Marie came exactly 9 months after. However, in 1972, Priscilla decided to leave her husband. I had to take responsibility for myself, she explained during a 1985 interview with Barbara Walters, adding that she was found Priscilla by leaving Elvis. Don't get that bit, but no, she left Elvis because she'd fallen for Mike Stone. She'd had other affairs. She'd gone off him. She fancied other men. That's the truth of it. She didn't leave Elvis because of his infidelities, even though we know Elvis also was having affairs. She had made up her mind. She fancied someone else. She had a new plan for her life. And Elvis wasn't in the plan. She was like, I'm out of here. I'm going to go off and have some fun. That's what I see, guys. It was all me. After the divorce was finalized in 1973, the pair remained close until Elvis died. I don't agree with that either. Just right. He was such an impact in my life in every way, Priscilla told Entertainment Tonight. He was my mentor. He was my confidant. And I wrote this in my book, Elvis and Me. He was everything in my book I wrote. I lived and breathed him. That doesn't show in your actions. The things played out between 62 and up to the divorce. It doesn't show that he was your everything and you lived and breathed him, because you obviously liked other men and were doing other things. And you had created your own life in America and your own interests way before you divorced. So I think probably when you first met him, and even that is disputed because of the book Child Bride, we don't know all the facts there, do we? We don't know what really went on in Germany. But yes, there was a period when Priscilla was infatuated with him and obsessed with him and probably thought she loved him. But it was a very short period. And by the time she gets over to America, I do understand the Anne Margaret thing happened probably in, was it 63, 64? Elvis made 4 movies with Anne Margaret, I think. You know, don't get me wrong here. I don't want to whitewash Elvis. He was up to stuff as well. And before he married Priscilla, I don't know all the details. So between 63, 64, 65, 66, those years are probably, I would say, if Priscilla is telling any truth, that anything that upset her and made her unhappy was happening through those years, I would say. I need to learn more about those years, what really went on behind the scenes, what they were both getting up to. But to me, it was obvious they just weren't happy. So I know they had many happy times as well. I understand that. It wasn't all bad. I don't want to be completely against Priscilla. I want to be a bit of a fly on the wall and find out exactly what that period was. And I'm going to start doing some research between 63 and up to the wedding and just see what truly went on. But I'm pretty sure, you tell me if I'm wrong, but that was the period with Anne Margaret and some other co-stars as well. Okay, so she obviously did Dancing with the Stars. She met Marco Garibaldi, whom she lived with until 2006. So that was a very long relationship, from 84 to 2006. The twosome welcomed son Navarone in March 97, like his late half sister, joined the family business and is a musician. My son Navarone is his own person and he wants to do his own thing, and I'm really proud of him. Priscilla told The Guardian in November the 12th, 2012. He doesn't want to step into the spotlight. He's always been that way. He's not riding on Elvis and he's not riding on Lisa. He has never been. Elvis, this and that to our children, because otherwise you're building up something that is almost unreachable. It's funny how she tries to dismiss Elvis in his life, but has now been fighting for him to have part of the inheritance of Graceland. So I don't agree with that, guys. Let's have a look. So we now talk about the dating. Let's have a look. After splitting from Elvis in 1972, Priscilla moved on with Mike Stone, the martial artist instructor. The pair dated until 1975. And I think this picture is very widely well-known picture, isn't it? So I'm going over the same stuff with you guys, but I'm just trying to see if they word it differently. Then you've got another picture, Robert Kardashian and Priscilla. I know the pictures are not clear, guys. So the Naked Gun actress briefly dated lawyer 1975 to 1976. And here's another one of Mike Edwards. And it says that she dated Mike Edwards from 1978 to 1984. And he wrote his book in 1988. So not very clear picture, but and I did read that. I actually read that book when it came out as well. The fact that he developed feelings for Lisa Marie is just sick. Lisa Marie claims that Edwards was inappropriate with her during his romance with Priscilla at the time, and their relationship. Lisa Marie was between the ages of 10 and 16. And we've got, this is where Richard Gere with Priscilla, just a picture there. And Edwards claims in his book that Priscilla told him she had a one-night stand with the Pretty Woman actor in 1983. Edwards also claimed, let's have a look, in his book that Priscilla told him she had a one-night stand with Pretty Woman actor in 1983. Okay, it's just saying the same, right, okay. Julia Ungleus. And I posted a video, an interview video, on my channel last week. Quite a long interview. And you can see that they had chemistry and there was flirting happening in this interview. If you want to watch it, just go to my channel, it's there. So let's have a look. Edwards also alleged that his ex-girlfriend had a fling with pop star in the early 80s, Julio Iglesias. He said a lot, didn't he, old Michael Edwards? Then we've got Marco Garibaldi here. And they were together for a long time, a long time. So when she says that that Elvis was the love of her life and that she still loves him, can't live without him. Well, what about Marco Garibaldi? How does he feel about Priscilla going around the world in interviews telling everyone that Elvis was the love of her life? It's ridiculous. Do any of you fall for that, guys, that Elvis was the love of her life? It makes no sense. She pretends to be his widow. She was never his widow. It's just, this is what I keep saying, that she's trying to rewrite history. She's trying to retell the story, but it keeps changing gradually over the decades. So in the end, she looks a bit silly. And this is infuriating the fans. This is upsetting the fans because the fans keep catching her out, twisting the truth. I would say I would say that the love of her life was Marco Garibaldi because she was with him for over 20 years. I would say that. So, but in the end, wasn't he a con man? Wasn't it all about the money? So Priscilla dated the film producer from 1984 to, we've already said that this is the film producer from 1984 to 2006. So I know he was a film producer, but I think he did many other things as well. And obviously Navarone came from that relationship. So again, it mentions Nigel Lithgow. Says that she was with him from 2006 to 2009. I'm not convinced about that one. Just not convinced. They don't really suit, do they? What do you think, guys? Right, this is one I didn't know about. Richie Palmer. Priscilla and Palmer had a brief relationship that lasted from 2010 to 2011. I don't actually know who Richie Palmer is. Do any of you know this guy? I know it's not clear. Richie Palmer. I'll have to Google that. Richie Palmer. Then we have another one. Toby Anstis. Toby Anstis. I recognise the face. I don't know who he is. The former Spin City star and the radio DJ sparked romance rumours in 2013 after they were photographed kissing in London. The pair later claimed it was a farewell smooch. I think that's the last one, guys. So I'm gonna end this live now. So I just think she's had many affairs, many relationships over the years. Actually, I wonder what if I just put in what affairs did Priscilla have, just what comes up. It's interesting. Right. Priscilla had her own affairs with dance teacher as well as karate instructor. Elvis had withdrawn sexually from Priscilla after she gave birth to their child. See, let's see what they did. This is another part of the story that I think is being twisted. That we're being told that Elvis wouldn't sleep with her because she'd had a child. But how about they'd fallen out of love? She was seeing other men. Elvis was seeing other women. And it was a loveless relationship. After, I think, during the pregnancy, I think they weren't really talking. I think they'd fallen out of love and they were both having affairs. And I think the reason that Elvis wouldn't sleep with her after the baby was born wasn't because Elvis doesn't sleep with people that have had babies. I think it's because they'd fallen out of love and their relationship was over and it was broken. That's what I think. But the version we're told by Priscilla and in books and in interviews is that Elvis never slept with a woman that had had a child, which I know is not true. Yeah, Elvis did have lovers that had children. So we've got to be careful, guys, that we're not buying into lies, into the rewritten history version that Priscilla gives. Let's have a look what this says here. Elvis' private confession. Priscilla's affair broke my heart. I wanted him killed. Elvis's private confession. Priscilla's affair broke my heart. I wanted him killed. And we know this story. Just weeks before his death, Elvis Presley privately confided true feelings about his marriage and divorce to Priscilla. The king confessed how he should never have been wed and why the couple could not have ever got back together. So I watched the interview. I know I did a video with Red West, the bodyguard and friend from Hume's High. And Red West speaks to Elvis. And Red West recorded this phone call. And Elvis clearly in that phone call says that he was railroaded into that marriage, that the marriage should not have happened. This is Elvis's words talking to Red West. And you look that up on YouTube, guys. It's the conversation. I think most Elvis fans have listened to it anyway, but if you haven't, you listen to that conversation. And Elvis makes it very clear he should not have married Priscilla. So the marriage was strained for many reasons, including the king's infidelities and unwillingness to have sex. Of course he's unwilling to have sex. They're not in love anymore. They don't see each other in that way anymore. They're both doing things that are outside of the engagement, the marriage. Let's have a look. And even here it says that they separated because of that. No, they separated because they were both being unfaithful. A newly uncovered private conversation on the relationship between the late singer and the Memphis Mafia cousin has been unearthed, and during the confession, Elvis shared some shocking revelations about his true feelings. Elvis had constant private chats and full of intimate and vulnerable details with his cousin Billy Smith, who knew the king long before he was famous as a child and shared bedroom with the future star and was on the Presley's move from Tupelo to Mississippi. I don't actually know what I'm going to read here. Let's just see what it says. The last surviving Memphis Mafia member went on to live with his family in a trailer at Graceland. He lived in a trailer at Graceland and was one of the last to see the star alive. He was regularly invited upstairs. And I know all about Billy, and I know he spent the last night with Elvis. Didn't they play racquetball? Elvis had been to the dentist. Let's have a look. The private conversation took place upstairs in Lisa Marie's bedroom around 2 or 3 in the morning, 2 or 3 months before Elvis died of a heart attack. Okay, let's get to the conversation. We got around to talking about Priscilla and naturally then everything that happened when they got married. They were a happy couple and everything seemed to be going well for them. Naturally, they had their disagreements at times. But what couple didn't? I think they got along fairly well. But your Elvis, I always said, was just never a faithful type to any woman. at any given time. We were talking about different things like that. And it was brought up about how he and Priscilla raised Lisa together, and she would come and spend time with him. He said to Priscilla was doing her thing and he was doing his thing. And what kind of meant by that, in fact, that they were going, they may have been going, no, I can't read this. It's just not clear. Sorry, guys. I just don't ever foresee us getting back together, that Elvis said. There's no way. Too many bridges have been burned behind me. I'll never go down that road again. I enjoyed our marriage for a short time, and I believe that they did have some good times. I do think it was on and off. But when I was performing in Vegas, we were not together a lot of the time. She found out I was seeing other women. I found out she was seeing another guy. It broke my heart. I wanted him killed. I really had crossed my mind. I later realized I was all pride and ego, and that wasn't wanting. I didn't really want to kill him. Of course he didn't. So, okay, and we know that the thing where Elvis lost his temper and was demanding that the West brothers kill Mike Stone, but it was just talk. It wasn't. Elvis couldn't kill anyone. He was too nice and kind. He was a very proud man, and was ashamed and embarrassed and couldn't believe that it was happening. The truth is, they were both doing their own thing. They were never going to get back together. Anyone thinks that they were going to get back together is wrong. Never going to happen. It mentions the affair with Mike Stone. So, yeah. So the general impression, guys, is they weren't really happy, were they? They never really had many happy times. This is, the fairy tale that many non-Elvis fans are spoon-fed. Just isn't. It wasn't a fairy tale. It's so clearly obvious that Priscilla had to go off, live her life out, many different affairs. Obviously, she had a massive interest in the entertainment business, being in films and in TV and in advertising and many other things. And then once all of that was eventually sort of faded, then her only way of making money really was by using the Presley name, which she shouldn't have been using. But we know this because she took that name back after Elvis passed, and she never should have. But her way of making money was using the Presley name. And from what I'm learning, even with Lisa Marie and Priscilla Presley, where their agreement that Priscilla was the trustee on behalf of Lisa Marie for Gracelands and for EPE, some very serious things happened that should not have happened financially, that cost Lisa Marie tens, if not hundreds of millions of pounds. So Lisa Marie in the end couldn't even trust Priscilla with the money. And I think greed and power made Priscilla make some silly decisions, especially with Barry Siegel. So it's just a mess, isn't it, guys? So I just think I wish that what we all would like to have seen is just a lovely romance, then a beautiful friendship with Lisa Marie and Priscilla. But then Priscilla ruins that by sticking Lisa Marie in Scientology way too young. And Scientology, let's face it, is just bad news. And I think really confused Lisa Marie. I know sometimes Lisa Marie would praise Scientology, but she seriously fell out with them. And I think Scientology has something to do with some of the business decisions being made for Elvis Presley Enterprises and Graceland. I just think, how could Lisa Marie trust Priscilla once she found out there was a secret takeover bid that happened around 2016? Their relationship was over, really. Once Lisa Marie realized that money came first for Priscilla, it was game over for them two. So, and I personally think that Priscilla Presley hasn't grieved properly for Lisa Marie or Benjamin, and that carrying on business as usual with her life, where she's still going around the world doing personal appearances and working on behalf of Elvis's name, Presley, is wrong. That woman should be grieving. She should be with her family and with her grandchildren. She shouldn't be out there trying to make loads more money. I really believe that. And to us, the Elvis fans, we're all wondering why she's so ambitious. She's 79 years old. She's out there running around the world trying to get more money. Why? It doesn't make sense, does it? How many people can even function? Is it a year? Is it a year and a half since Lisa Marie passed? It's not long, is it? It's like that when Lisa Marie passed away. And Priscilla's going around the world giving interviews and smiling and laughing on TV. It upsets the fans. The fans don't want to see you smiling and laughing so soon after the interview. And the fans don't want to see you taking your granddaughter to a lawsuit. They don't want to see it. Yeah, I know Riley Keough seems like a lovely person and has resolved many things business-wise, yeah? But the fans see through it. The fans just see a grandmother, granddaughter that have had serious disagreements, financial disagreements, business disagreements, ultimately money disagreements. And the fans don't like it. The fans don't like it. They want to see a grandmother and a granddaughter grieving over the loss of Lisa Marie, the loss of the mother, the loss of the daughter. They're not seeing it, guys. This is what the fans want. Anyway, I'm going to go now, guys. Good morning to you. I'm not fully awake yet. I'm still sort of half asleep. I am coming back. I'm going to do another live stream later. I want to sort of look more into the money stuff. And I've been trying to sort of find out about this takeover bid that nearly happened, where Priscilla and Barry Siegel almost took away Lisa Marie's right to run her company. And even the sale of the 85% sale of Elvis Presley Enterprises. I want to know why that happened, because I don't think it should have happened. I don't think that Lisa Marie should have agreed to the sale of 85% of Elvis Presley Enterprises. I think she was being badly advised. And I also think that her main advisor was Priscilla Presley. And so I think that Priscilla Presley, with others, Barry Siegel, etc., was giving Lisa Marie some seriously wrong advice. And now the Presley family, the Presley legacy, have to live with the fact that 85% of the company, Elvis Presley Enterprises, belongs to someone else. And I know there's other management companies involved as well. And the other thing that shocked me was that even though Riley Keough retains the ownership of Graceland and its artifacts, that Elvis Presley Enterprises still has complete control of the running of Graceland, the building. And that surprised me. So even though Riley Keough is the boss of Graceland, they can tell her how to run that building. They can tell her what to do in that building. I think Joel Weish, I can't say his name, Joel Weishenker, seems like a decent guy. And he wants to do the right thing with Riley Keough and Finley and Harper and Elvis's legacy. He seems like a good guy. But the bottom line is, he's not a family member, is he? He's not Riley Keough. He's not Finley and Harper. That's the bloodline of Elvis. And they should have total control of EPE from my point of view. They shouldn't be a separate entity that can tell them how to run Gracelands. I really believe that, guys. And if I could turn back the clock, there's no way that sale should have ever happened. There's no way that 85% of EPE should ever have been sold off to companies, to outsiders. Completely disagree with it. That is for a whole nother live stream. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I'm going to make myself a coffee, start doing some more research. I'll come back with a live later. Thanks, guys. Good morning to you. And if you're waking up and watching this, I'm half asleep, so I hope you enjoy it. It was just I wanted to re-go over who the lovers and boyfriends of Priscilla Presley were, because I'm trying to learn myself. Now, remember, I'm trying to learn with you guys. I'm not an expert on Elvis. I'm just trying to learn with you guys, familiarize myself with all the facts, and just get myself into a better position. So when I'm doing these lives, I sort of understand more what I'm talking about, because it's all quite still new for me. Thanks, guys. Good morning to you. Give you a wave.